Hey guys, hope you're doing well today. The All Black squad for the 2023 Rugby Championship was just announced. I'm in shock. This is unbelievable. The players who have missed out, but also who have been included. I mean, look, before I get into this, like the video, guys, right now and subscribe to our channel. But here you go. This is the All Black selection for the 2023 Rugby Championship. In terms of the hookers, they have gone the likes of Cody Taylor, Dan Coles, and Samisoni Takalaho. Kind of the expected three overall. Again, they weren't really going to go with Asafa more because he hasn't really had the best of seasons. So those three are kind of expected. In terms of the kind of the props, they have gone the likes of Ethan DeGroot, Fletcher O'Neill, Nepalalala, Alpha Tungafasi, Tamati Williams, and Tyrell Lomax. So they've actually chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 props, which is kind of the expected amount, really. But Tamati Williams does get his he is kind of the main man there because he is one of the bolters or one of the new caps kind of added towards this All Black squad. So very happy for him, of course. And it's interesting to see Fletcher Newell because I did believe that he's been injured pretty much throughout the whole season because he only really played technically the first game of the Super Rugby round. But I believe this kind of shows that for what we see, he'll be available for the Rugby Championship. So that's a very good sign for things to come, of course. But in terms of the locks, they have gone the likes of Bertie Vitalik, Josh Lord, they've gone the likes of Sam Whitelock, Scott Barrett, and Tubo Valai. So again, probably expected kind of locks to go with because again, Patrick Tubeloto was unfortunately out due to injury. So I think Josh Lord probably pipped it ahead of him. I believe if maybe Patrick Tubeloto was available, I think he would have got selected over Josh Lord. But I do agree with those lock selections. I don't think there was any kind of any glaring mistakes there. I think that's kind of the obvious 5, really, because they all bring you experience within that All Black setup. But this is where it gets interesting, guys, the loose forwards, because they've made a lot of changes here. I mean, look, they've gone with Otter Sevilla, Dr. Papali. They've gone with, Sam Kane, who, of course, isn't retaining that captain spot. And they're going with Shannon Mazel, which is not surprising, but again, it's good to see him back in the squad and someone who I believe could actually step up for the All Blacks in that number 6 jersey. But the two notable mentions within this is Luke Jacobson, who's been selected once again for the All Blacks. He's returned now towards the All Blacks environment, as well as a new debutant in Samapenny Finau, which is a big statement for him because he's had a brilliant season for the Chiefs, guys. And I think the All Blacks realize that 6 jersey now is kind of it's really up for grabs. And with Akira Laoni not having the best of season, and again, that does come down towards injuries, so you have to remember that he was injured for a big part of it. But at the same time, he hasn't been able to kind of regain that form. And Samapenny Finau he's been consistent, really hasn't had any injuries. So I do agree with that selection. Very happy for him, of course. He definitely deserves it and definitely covers that 6th position very well. In terms of the back line here, I mean, again, they've gone with the likes of Aaron Smith here. They've made the big call in not going with Brad Weber, which is kind of what I expected at the end of the day, because you want to look towards a younger point of view in terms of that scrum half setup. And they have gone with the likes of Finley Christie, who's been brilliant for the Blues this year. And they have gone with the bolter, the guy we all expected to get in, and really the deserving player to get in, Cam Morgard. He definitely deserves it. I mean, he's been very consistent throughout the whole season. I mean, look, I think the All Blacks really were just kind of clear with him, where you will get selected if you are consistent throughout the whole season, and he has definitely displayed that since the opening round towards the quarterfinal of the playoffs. So, yeah, he deserves to get in. Very happy for him, of course, and he'll definitely add another, way, because he's very different, by the way, in how he plays compared towards Finley Christie and Aaron Smith, because he's really more of a try-scoring scrum half, similar towards what we saw with TJ Perinar in the past, whereas Finley Christie's kind of a balance of both Aaron Smith and Cameron Morgard, because Aaron Smith, of course, is more of the passing scrum half. He really looks more for the try-assist, whereas Finley Christie is more of a balance in between both, because he looks for the tries as well as a try-assist of his own. So it's a good balance, I think, overall there, and kind of what I would go with in general. In terms of the flyers they've gone with the likes of Bowden Barrett, Rich Wonga, as well as David McKenzie. The expected 3 overall. All 3 of them have been brilliant this season. Again, you would probably say more so for David McKenzie as well as Rich Wonga, because them two have been outstanding this year for both their respective clubs. But Barrett, look, I have to be very completely honest, guys, from a Blues perspective. He hasn't had the season as he has, in the previous season for the Blues. But it's one of those where you got to accept it, where he is Bowden Barrett and he is going to make an impact no matter what you think of him. So I think he does deserve to get in, because he will change the impact of that side, and he's someone always good to have within the All Black environment. So I think he was always going to be selected no matter what, even though, yes, he hasn't been on the form, which we all know him to be. He is still Bowden Barrett, so you have to remember that. In terms of the, the centers, they have one of the likes of Anthony Brown. They're going Jordy Barrett and Rick Kalani, which is going to be expected for you would say, but they've made a very big decision here and not going with Jack Goodhue, guys. They haven't gone with Jack Goodhue. They've gone with Brandon Enor, which I'm very pleased about, by the way. I mean, I did say he was my man of the match in that Blues game in the semifinal, and maybe that was the game that pipped him ahead of Jack Goodhue. And again, Jack Goodhue just announced that he is leaving to France after the World Cup, so maybe that was in the heads of the selectors as well for the future. But yeah, Brandon Enor definitely deserved it. But hey, this is the big one. I think out of the whole squad, this is the one I even didn't see coming, guys. By the way, guys. I mean, look, I did mention in my Bolters video, but I never thought that he would actually get into the squad. Dallas McLeod. I'm just in awe. I mean, this is incredible, the rise he has had this season. I mean, from the very first round. I mean, again, you have to remember that he was really only implemented into the opening rounds after the third round, I believe. And since then, he has just been accelerating in terms of his growth. So yeah, no, I truly believe he deserves a selection, guys. Because again, you have to remember he's very versatile in the sense where he can play 13 or what he's been playing regularly now in terms of the Crusaders as well as the 14. So yeah, he's very useful to have in terms of the All Blacks camp, and someone who I'm just very happy for because he's someone who I believe Scott Robinson maybe would have selected in the future. But hey, Ian Foster has recognized it now and has said, no, we're gonna bring him into the camp and see what he's about. So happy for him, of course. Yeah, just pleased overall. But in terms of the wingers, this is a big decision. They have stuck with Caleb Clark here. They're going with his experience overall, which is interesting to see. Again, he hasn't had the best of seasons, but I understand the reason why behind his selection because he does cover Lester Fananke, who, in my opinion, is the starting kind of 11 in terms of the All Black setup. But again, Caleb Clark is a very good player to have off the bench and someone you can definitely rely on in terms of, I guess, free space because he's just a battering ram at the end of the day. So again, I may not agree with his selection, but I understand the reasons why. But again, you do have the likes of Amori Nawar, of course, who has been selected. It's incredible the rise he has had within, since he's, joined Super Rugby in general, because I mean, he was, again, you have to remember, he was in the Blues last year. He wasn't getting the amount of minutes that we all expected, but that's for a good reason because, he was sitting behind, Mark Talea as well as, Caleb Clark here, and you aren't really going to get him ahead of them two. But again, he's now joined the Chiefs this year. You know what? He wants more minutes, and he said, I'm gonna prove it." And he has been proving it throughout the whole year. I mean, I think he scored 9 or I don't know how many. I think he scored 9 or 8 tries. But I may be wrong on that front. But he's been sensational, by the way, guys. So he definitely deserves to get in. And then Martalea, no doubt he's going to get in. He scored 11 tries this year. I think it was 11 or 12. Is it 11 or 12? I think he scored 12 actually. So yeah, he's been sensational. I've already made a video on him, guys, saying how he's brilliant. So I don't have to go too much more about him. But then Will Jordan obviously is the last player selected in this announcement, which is kind of expected at the end of the day because he has obviously got back from tonsillitis and it's been brilliant since then. Obviously since the rounds have come in, and it's just been instrumental towards what the Crusaders have done recently within the playoffs. But really, the big one that it's really noticeable here, guys, and it's been mentioned here, but Sean Stevenson has not been selected for the All Blacks, which is incredible to think, by the way, guys, because again, Sean Stevenson, it says here, look, Sean Stevenson's been added as an injury cover from Mark Talea. So what they are saying is, for the moment, Sean Stevenson actually will be part of the All Black camp, I believe. But as soon as Mark Talea comes back in, I think Sean Stevenson will head out. So it's one of those where I feel bad for him because it just shows you that he's on the cusp of it, but they decide not to go with it. So it's a bold call. It's a very bold call. But let me know in the comments, you guys, if you agree with that or not. Again, in terms of other players who've missed out, I'm trying to think. Again, I mean, Hoskins Tutu, that's another big one who's missed out in terms of loose forwards. Massive. But again, kind of expected at the same time because you have to remember that they're choosing a lot of players who haven't been selected before for this Rugby Championship. So it's going to be a really different squad to what we've seen in the past. And again, this will be very different at the end of the day, towards the World Cup squad. So maybe he returns for that one. But wow, just wow. I am in awe of this side, by the way, guys. We've had 5 new caps, obviously selected at the end of the day. To Matty Williams, we've had Simon Penny Final. We've had the likes of Cam Roygard, Dallas McLeod, as well as Amori Nara. So yeah, obviously congrats towards them, and congrats to all the other players who've been selected. I'm just in awe. And let me know in the comments, by the way, guys, if you agree or disagree with this selection. By the way, I will be posting a video straight after this of my starting 15 for the All Blacks. So check that one out as well. Would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a